His top 4 most heated moments in Joe Rogan history. In this first clip, Joe Rogan is trying to convince Eddie Bravo that the earth is not flat. But Joe Rogan kills himself trying to convince Eddie Bravo and he still doesn't believe him. Guys, watch until the end because Joe Rogan and his guests talk about one of the most controversial things that still have arguments today.
Pictures from NASA, how come they don't have any?
They don't have that space. That
they don't have the technology?
No, they just never did it.
They also don't give a
Eddie.
about proving it's round.
These
Eddie,
Japanese pictures, I've seen them. Put them
They
up.
don't
They're
have
terrible.
that kind of
Show me a
space
real
satellite.
picture. Show me a real picture.
Listen, NASA
Find
does
it.
not have one of those satellites.
Fake.
Why do you think that's fake?
That's fake as
Why does it look fake?
It looks something you'd see in a movie.
That's because when they do it in a movie, they try to make it look like this, which is what
man.
looks real.
If that's real to you, man, shit.
You don't think it's real?
They faked 6
Eddie,
moon
Eddie, dude,
landings.
stop saying that because it's irrelevant. We're not talking about the same people.
It looks fake to me.
Eddie, that's 1969. We're talking about 2017.
That looks fake.
So
They
what
look
evidence?
fake. They look CGI.
But you're not an expert.
As you saw, Joe Rogan's attempts are non-successful. Now, Jamie, one of the other people on the podcast, tried to pull up an article that shows that Eddie Bravo is wrong.
Thing that you keep it, but don't. No.
Hey,
'Cause
where did you get this information?
Jamie.
Where'd you get it?
Where'd I get what?
This information. Where is this coming from?
It's coming off the internet.
Exactly.
The American
so
the
you're
American
reading
Journal-
some information. I'm reading some information.
Slow down,
off
slow down,
the internet.
slow
You
down.
didn't go to the
Slow down,
library.
slow
Oh, it's
down.
on Wikipedia.
Just slow down.
Eddie, stop
There's
doing that.
sources here. There's a book called the American Journal of Science. I'm sure that a lot
Which
of people
is
respect that.
bought and paid for.
Well, maybe.
It is. It's
Well,
bought and paid
why?
for it. It's
But
part of that.
Here's the thing, Eddie.
It's
why?
like the Washington Post.
Eddie,
All you gotta do is look
Eddie,
into
they're
it.
not. They're
It's
not.
huge.
They're
Flat
not
Earth
getting
is
knocked
huge.
down. That's why we just read this thing that you've been citing, and you didn't even understand it when we were reading it. But that's how
You read off the internet.
complicated-
Where the
I
fuck
read
am
it
I
off the
supposed to
internet
read it?
too. I read it off
I
the
don't have
internet
any
too.
books here. I'll
No,
go
no,
find
exactly.
the encyclopedia.
Here, Joe Rogan just gives up, but on the next podcast, Joe Rogan interviews a very strong opinioned person. He talks about how Christianity is the best religion in the world. This really angers Joe Rogan because he's ignoring all the other religions. Let's see what happens next.
People think to say our culture is better. I believe our culture is better
Our
than everywhere
culture,
else in the,
the
world.
culture of Christians.
I think European
Christians that are running around doing ketamine and each other. What?
It does.
What comes from the Bible?
Ultimately, our sense of right and wrong comes from the Bible.
Our sense of right
I
and
think-
wrong. The only way that a person could have ethics and morals and treat each other
No, I
well.
didn't say the only way.
Don't you think
I
that
said this-
people
no, I didn't say the only
understand
way.
what's
I said
good
this
and what's
specific-
bad? Listen, if we're gonna have a conversation, we can't keep talking over each other like this. When someone's trying to make a point about something that's
Go ahead,
complex
go
like
ahead.
this, if you think that the only way for a person to have ethics or an understanding of each other or compassion for each other is to rely on ancient myths that are easily scientifically
I didn't say
disproven,
that.
well, that's what Christianity is.
As the conversation gets more and more heated, the conversation points towards the guest's gender.
Being a gay
That's not
man
who I am. It's
that's
how I behave.
promiscuous,
It's what I do.
But that is
This is-
prohibited in the Bible.
Yes, but I agree that it would be better if I didn't behave like this, and if I could
Do you
choose to be
really? So
heterosexual,
you're
I
a
would do so.
self-loathing
No,
homosexual.
no.
I don't need to read. I need to know what the you're saying.
Okay, so Brett Easton
Because
Ellis
what you're saying is who you are is
No, it's not who
it's
you,
prohibited
it's not
in the
who
Bible.
you are, because I don't think my sexuality is an important component
It's a
of
huge
my
part of you. You talk about it all the time.
Well, I
It's a massive
talk about it
part
all the
of
time.
what we've talked about on the show.
I think
It comes up anytime you want to make a funny point. It comes up anytime you
true,
want
I
to
do
define
rely
your
on- I do rely on
sexuality or your urges
In
or
the next podcast, it gets even more heated because Joe Rogan and his guest Jack were both influenced by alcohol, so it made it a lot worse.
Hold on, stop.
No, hold on a second. This is
you
because you just
interrupt
want-
way too much. You need to stop.
You talk in
Hold on a
paragraphs.
second. No. I don't talk in
Go ahead.
paragraphs. I make full points. If people are high a lot and the same amount of fatalities exist, but the people that get checked once they get into these accidents happen to be high, it does not necessarily mean that marijuana caused those fatalities. It could be that you have an increased incidence of people doing marijuana and altercations that could not have been avoided.
It could be.
So all these things are good. Marijuana is one of the things that are good.
I don't buy that smoking marijuana would be as beneficial as a reduced sugar diet. And my point is that people
You
get
might
so
be-
offended
you
by
might
me
be
saying that
correct.
and saying, but if you want to smoke, go ahead.
You might be correct,
Shouldn't be
but
offensive.
it doesn't matter because it's not a contest to see what's the most benefit.
As they both carry on talking about this topic, the conversation gets so heated that they both even want to fight themselves.
You're a free
Yes,
market guy,
that's
right?
what I just said.
So if you're a free
Smoke
market
pot.
guy, why wouldn't you be in support of something, whether it's the most
I just
beneficial
said I am.
or equally
I just
beneficial?
said I am.
But you're not necessarily because
I
you're
am.
you're
But
denying.
because
you're
right now of the
denying-
chemical
Hold on,
compound-
face.
You-
You're
whoa, watch it, watch
denying
it.
the way fatalities in Colorado are at
Hold on a
near
second.
historic lows.
You haven't bringing up the source that you want to find.
Watch. Look, I don't care about your website, you since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado
Since you
are
called me
at
hold on a second.
near
Since you called me a, hold on a second. Since you called me a a puss, and you do this with the crazy lady at a
Come
comedy
on,
club.
buddy, I
you
like
think if
you.
you scream enough that it makes a point. My point is, I don't care
don't
about
think
it.
that if we
Smoke
scream
up.
enough-
And you just said I was interrupting. You're interrupting now and
Listen,
screaming.
because
I don't
Jamie
care about
put
it
up a
enough.
post and you're not.
But I
you're
don't buy
ignoring
that
it.
it's as valuable as a low sugar diet. And the fact
Doesn't have to
the
be
fact
as
that
valuable.
you can't have a conversation about this as civilly as you did every other issue tells me that there's
not true.
there's a problem. This
It's
is,
not
this is a TNT powder keg.
I can't.
This is-
Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Make sure you subscribe for more.